I saw Shogun's 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Chiz told me because I was recommending it to him. After we finish this show, I'm going to watch the original show and then read the book. I guess I'll do it in complete ass backwards order. I'm told I think it's 1986 was the original show, which is very closely follows the book as well, and is filmed in Japan. I'm told it's a masterpiece. That it's very good, but it's 1986 TV, so we'll see.
I usually don't like old stuff. Like I find that entertainment's gotten better and better, and you can either see people who are sort of like sincere in the real them on YouTube or deeper dives. TV shows from a long time ago sucked. It was all surface level shit where you could watch the episodes out of order. Now they tell deep stories that are better than movies, and movies are almost the surface level thing where you only spend 90 to 120 minutes investigating a topic.
Yep. I agree completely. And the perfect in the middle is that 6 or 8 episode standalone miniseries when the creators wipe their fucking hands and go, no, that
Band
was
of Brothers.
We did our thing. There it is. Enjoy. Chernobyl, Band of Brothers, and I think we're going to say Shogun by the time this is over. I think it's going to be one of those as well.
I like Shogun. It's not syncing with me quite as well as it did with you guys. Yeah, I do like it.
I love that last episode too. It's so.
I watched it.
All right, can we do some spoilers on that? Do and the most recent Shogun, our Englishman has been given like a fucking house of his own, and he's got this super awkward scenario where they like gave him his own wife, and like, but he's also got a lady servant, and the emperor guy Toranaga gives him this pheasant that he has caught with his falcon, and he's like, a wonderful gift from Lord Toranaga. We will make a wonderful stew with this later. And he like hangs it up, and he's like, no one touch this. And his Japanese is bad. He's trying to explain to him that it needs to sit there and like rot for a few days. This apparently is some sort of 1600s British thing that they do with fowl, as they allow it to rot perhaps before they cook it. And in weird Japanese to English, the lady goes, "Oh, won't it smell very bad?" He's like, "Oh yes, the smell will be almost intolerable." Terrible stench. And she's like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "Oh, no one touch. Forbidden. Death. And like
he's like, touch, die, or something like that.
Like that's all he's got. That's all the Japanese he's got. And so the episode plays out. Well, like, god damn, if this thing isn't stinking up not just their house and their backyard, but like the village is complaining. So because their society's so goddamn rigid, the gardener, who's been a little sick lately, goes, "I'll take the L, folks." And he takes down the bird and like buries it or whatever. And then they execute him. They execute the poor old gardener. And so like our white dude shows back up from a rough day, mind you. And he's just like, "What's going on? Why is everybody fucking teary-eyed and shit? Who died?" And she's like, "Oh." She like gestures toward where the fowl had been hung, and there's an empty noose thing there where the pheasant had been hung. And he's like, "Oh, the bird's gone. Oh, it smelled terrible, didn't it? Who did it? Who took the bird?" "Urinaga took a bird." "Oh, did he? That old rapscallion. Can't believe he was able to get up there. Where is he? Fetch him for me." He just wants to like talk to him because he's been shooting the shit with the gardener, about the pebble guard and how they all need a good rock. Sweet old man. She's like, "Oh, he was put to death." He's like, "You killed that old man over a bird that I didn't even care about." And she's like, "You said death."
Yeah.
"You said death." And then she's like, gestures toward his swords, and she's like, "Kill me. Kill me. Take my life." And he's just like, "Where the fuck am I?
You people are insane."
Yeah.
And you're with him so much in that moment where you're like, I'm so glad he's saying it. I'm so glad he's not just like, "Well, this is the Eastern version of our feudal system." He's like, "What the fuck do you mean cut your head off, bitch? Like, answer for your, what do you mean? No, I'm not gonna cut your head off with your daddy's fucking sword." Jesus, what is this place? And he even tells her later on, he's like, you're just a prisoner to this rigid system of nonsense that matters to no one. Like, you suffer for this person who doesn't care, and you suffer for that person who doesn't care. When do you live for you? When is your life yours? And she's just like, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore, Aru," or whatever the fuck. It's really frustrating. Yeah, it's pretty much what she said. She's very attractive, by the way.
I spent
Not-
all of like 90 seconds being like, what the fuck? British people were eating rotten pheasant? And
Were they?
No, it doesn't seem so. At least nothing came up when I searched that. And then I was like, why? Like, why would that be the mechanism they used in the show to like show the harshness of the gardener dying? That was just weird. Because like anyone who's eating rotten bird is going to be very ill. Like you don't get an immunity.
Maybe he was going
that.
to cook it. I don't even know. I thought that they were eating the stew when they had dinner that night. They had the most awkward dinner ever. So this is my favorite scene thus far in the whole series. Has to be our English main character is hosting dinner, and his guests are the woman they're forcing to be his wife, the woman who is his translator, who he just slept with because she thought her husband had died in battle, and surprise, surprise, her husband. So they're all four sitting around the floor. They don't have Japanese style, and he is serving them an English rabbit stew that he has made, and they are all so close to vomiting. But they're trying to be so polite. And after the dinner's over, she tells the servant, "Throw that stew into the sea." I love that shit. I loved the drinking part, the whole thing. The weird culture shock every episode is fun to me. I like that. Like he asks for a wart. He's like, have him tell me about how he escaped the great battle in the city. And as a viewer, I'm wondering, how did he? Last time I saw this guy, he was surrounded by swordsmen, being backed into a flaming home of some kind. Like it looked bad for him. And now here he is. No, not a scratch. How'd you do that? And they're like, oh, he must come from a culture where bragging about one's deeds is much more acceptable. And it's like, yeah, he does. Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm more asking for an explanation than bragging.
Yeah. Like tell me the story.
I hope we get that story. I would really like to hear what happened off camera.
Sure. Oh, that guy, undoubtedly that guy is like a double agent out, now right? Who was allowed to live because of that.
Oh,
I don't think so,
but it's a good theory. I think Kyle's right. I think that
he's ashamed.
Listen, the nature of escaping from a village of swordsmen by yourself, and I know we got some help along the way, but that's not a brave act. You are running, you are hiding, you are covering yourself. You're Rambo in the woods, traps and running, and like,
you might kill a kid before he could warn someone. He did something he's ashamed of.
There's no way he 1v90'd the village, with the sword. So I really want to hear what happened, and I hope I hear the truth of it, because I just keep repeating myself now. There's no way that you escape from a village of people trying to kill you
in a brave way.
It's pretty shady.
In a brave way, better phrased.
Yeah. He didn't hack his way through those swordsmen. He fled, which seemed to be what he was avoiding by facing them to begin with anyway. So it's that society is so alien to me. It almost seems like an episode of Star Trek. There's an episode of Star Trek. I won't waste too much time on this, but they go down to a planet. They start playing ball. The kid goes for a long one and dives, and he falls on these enclosure with plants in it, flowers and shit, crushes it, breaks it. But on that planet, every crime, the punishment is death. And he trespassed and destroyed property. So it's death. And it's like, whoa, come on. That's so alien. I can't even get on board with this. But this Japanese feudal shit is kind of close to that. I feel like if you were to fall into the emperor's garden and mess his pebbles up, damn, dude.
I honestly thought you were talking about Shogun when you said every penalty is death. I'm like, yeah. Touching a pheasant, speaking when you're not spoken to. Like, there's some petty shit that they'll kill you over.
There's no way it could have been that bad. They wouldn't have any people left.
That's where I am. Like, dude, making a useful human takes like 24 years. Like, you can't just throw that away all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know much about that.
You got to spice it up, Hollywood.
I think they did it though. It feels really authentic. I was so glad last week when I was proven right and that fucking boat was real. Hutch was like, no, that's CGI boat. Woody's like, yeah, it can't be real.
No. I don't think I weighed in. I don't.
Yeah, but I'm going to throw you in there anyway.
Okay.
If all of us were going, you're a fool. You're a fool. And Kyle
you don't know anything about
wait and hear me out. And we shouted him down.
I'm not sure I
Mm.
had seen the show at that point.
I don't think so.
Which makes
Um,
your allegiance to Hutch even worse.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fair.
Undoubtedly.
I haven't